Hi everyone, this is Joel from Niabi Zoo, and today we are continuing our journey into an animal's mouth to see what their teeth tell us about the things that they eat. So previously we actually talked about animals like this, our herbivores, but today we're going to talk about animals like this, which are the carnivores. So things like a snow leopard would have some pretty sharp teeth, but we looked at herbivore teeth before, like the animals you see on this table, but today we're going to focus on animals like this. So when we see something like this is actually the skull of a lion. And when we look at a lion's teeth, we can see that they have very sharp edges. From the front, which everybody knows they got the big long canine teeth in the front, but every single tooth you see in their mouth has a sharp edge, right? Now those sharp edges, of course, are designed for doing one thing, eating meat, right? So when we look at an animal like this is actually from a wolf. And again, they have these long canine teeth here in the front and sharp edged teeth all the way through the back. So these are called the premolars, and these are called the molars in the back. And one of the things that both the canids and the cats have in common is this set of teeth right here. So when we look back at the lion, you'll see that set of teeth right here, and this is called the carnassial pair. Now the carnassial pair is pretty important because when they open and close their mouth, you can see that those teeth come together kind of like scissors. Right? So if you ever seen your dog, chewing on, say, a piece of rawhide or something like that, they often do it at the very back edge of their mouth. And that's where those teeth, the carnassial pair, comes together. And those are shearing teeth. That's how they would get chunks of meat to come off of an animal that they're eating so that they can swallow that. And those teeth are incredibly important to get the protein that they need off of the muscle from the muscle of other animals that they like to eat. So whether you're a big old cat or a big old dog, both of them have these very sharp teeth. Now, of course, other types of carnivores, something like an alligator, they also have sharp teeth, but these are cone-shaped teeth. They don't have quite the design as the teeth that we see in the mammals, but these are, of course, just really good for grabbing onto prey and, like in the case of an alligator, taking them down to the bottom of the water and holding them there until that animal dies, and then they can eat it at their leisure. Speaking of water, of course, we can't talk about predators without talking about sharks. Probably the most perfectly designed aquatic predator. They are millions and millions of years old, older than the dinosaurs, and their teeth are incredible. So yes, they're sharp, but you'll also notice that they have very specific shapes to them. So when we see the bottom teeth here, the bottom teeth are actually much straighter. And those straight teeth are kind of like the tines of a fork, and they hold the prey animal, right? And then we look at the top teeth, and we'll notice that they are angled toward the outside. And if we zoom in a little tighter, you'll notice that they have serrated edges like a knife blade, right? So think of like a steak knife. And then, of course, as we go to the other side, we see the angle out the other direction. And so the design of the shark's mouth is pretty amazing because the bottom teeth here, they would hold the food in place. And then the top, when they come down, it shears off to the side and it cuts a chunk of the fish that they're trying to eat, or a whale or something like that. Just cuts a chunk off, and so they can swallow it and swim away. And so they don't have to actually wrestle with the animal or do things like the wolf or the lion, in which they have to process the entire animal. They just take a bite and usually swim right away. So carnivore teeth have many different designs to it. But when we think about carnivores, we also think about the way that they catch their prey, right? And of course, this type of carnivore, right? This is an aerial carnivore. This is actually from an eagle. And of course, they're able to grab onto prey with these long talons, which is actually very similar in the way that a lion might grab on with their long canine teeth, right? So when we think about the shapes of those teeth, let's take a look here. Now, when we look at this tooth right here, that is actually the tooth of a saber-toothed cat. Right? And so this is the tooth of a lion. So this is a modern lion, and that's the saber-toothed cat. But I want you to notice the shape of these right? These are piercing devices. These drive these points deep into a prey animal to try to kill them. That is the whole point of these large, sharp teeth. In fact, the reason this one is so much bigger, because the funny thing is that a lion and a saber-toothed cat were about the same size of animals, but their teeth were different. So just the long canine tooth was different, but the prey was also different. So this guy was actually hunting what we call pachyderms, so animals with very thick skin like woolly mammoths or woolly rhinos, and so their teeth had to actually go much deeper into that animal to get through their tough outer hide in order to kill that animal so that they could eat them. So when we take a closer look at the lion tooth, and again, notice the curved shape to that, right? But still kind of straight so that it can puncture. And then look at this right here, right? This is actually an eagle's talon. And notice that it is very similarly shaped. Yes, it's curved, but the whole point of this is to drive this long point deep into an animal enough to kill it, right? So that's the whole purpose of these weapons, so that they can actually kill the animal so then they can eat it, right? That's the whole purpose. But when we look at the shape of those, I also want you to take a look at the eagle's skull and notice that its hooked beak is actually very similar in shape to the lion's claw, right? So notice the way the hook comes down here and the hook comes down right there. And that is for, of course, grabbing onto things. So lion would grab onto the prey with their claws. They might be able to sink that in there and then actually pull and cut something open with that. So same with the eagle. Look at the exact same shape, right? So the hook to the eagle's beak and the hook to the lion's claw does the same job, just like the talon of the eagle does the same job as the piercing tooth of the lion. And so this actually brings us to another interesting topic, something we call convergent evolution, to where the purpose of a certain thing is the same between two different species, right? So the purpose of that hooked beak and the purpose of the hook on the claw here serves the same purpose, just as the purpose of the tooth and the claw here are the same in order to, say, kill an animal. And it would be something similar to, say, from a shark. Sharks are usually gray on their back and white on their bellies, just like dolphins. Now, of course, we think of dolphins as, being sweet little mammals, but you got to remember, dolphins are predators. They have very sharp teeth, and they have that same counter shading of the darker gray on the top and the white on the belly. And so that is actually convergent evolution also between the shark and the dolphin, because they both adapted to the same environment, which is the ocean. And so it's dark toward the bottom of the ocean, and so if you look down, you wouldn't be able to see the shark from up above or the dolphin because they're gray, darker on top. But if you were down below them and swimming and looking up, of course the sunlight is up above, and of course it would be much brighter. And so if you saw their light colored belly, it'd be hard to see them. So that actually is a type of camouflage that they have out there. So that idea of convergent evolution has to serve a purpose, as it does between the tooth and the talon, between the lion and the eagle, and of course between the hooked beak and the hooked claw, between the eagle and the lion. So I hope you learned a little bit about carnivores today. Of course, these are the meat eaters, but it always comes back to those teeth right there, those sharp-edged teeth. Sharp teeth eat meat. That's just how it goes. And of course, the carnassial pair. So as we conclude today, I want you to think about the herbivore teeth and the carnivore teeth. So we have plant eaters and we have meat eaters. And then in our next episode, we're going to teach you about the type of animals that eat both. So we look forward to seeing you then. Everybody have a great day. Bye now.